Hey y'all, thanks for stopping by. So, Lauren Boebert is a congresswoman out of Colorado. Is in the news probably every 3 or 4 months because she says outlandish stuff all the time. She's one of these new Republicans that likes to stoke the culture war flames with anything she can find her hands on about trans people and drag queens and stuff like that. She's one of these people who will call anybody who's visibly gay a groomer. She likes to preach about appropriate behaviors. She's tweeted before about she made shots at Joe Biden on Twitter saying that he needs to learn appropriate behaviors around children and, taking your kids to church instead of to drag shows so they can learn appropriate ethics. And most people will tell you that anytime someone in the GOP says something, it's a confession. Any accusation's a confession. And it seems like that happened this time, especially with the appropriate behavior side of things. She was ejected from a movie theater. And when I first heard about this story, someone told me it was because she was vaping. Apparently, the statement she made was she got kicked out because she was a Republican, but because she was vaping in the theater was what I first heard. And well, I do think that's a bit steep to kick somebody out of a place for. That's the rules of the establishment. No smoking, no vaping. Kind of all agree to that stuff whenever we go into places. It's just like the no shirt, no shoes policies. We kind of all accept it. It's not a law, but, we all agree to it. But then, of course, the video footage comes out, and it's a lot worse than that. Her and her partner were in this movie theater together, and well, for lack of a better word, they were performing sexual acts on one another. And it wasn't like it was a late night movie, or it wasn't like it was an adult only movie. It was Beetlejuice, you know, which isn't R rated at all. Not to say that would make it any better, but there were children in the audience of this theater while you're performing these sex acts in front of all of them. Well, maybe not as the star attraction, but you're surrounded by other people who definitely didn't agree to that, didn't consent to you doing that around them. So, it's lots of people are pointing out this hypocrisy too, by the way, and calling out old tweets of hers where she talks about, people's sexuality and keeping that stuff at home and not subjecting other people to your perversions and stuff like that. And honestly, I think it's a good thing that we call out our elected officials. We call out really anybody who engages in this steep of a level of hypocrisy. I expect everybody to be honest and to represent themselves and their beliefs as directly and concisely as they can. And to see somebody just clearly do the opposite of what they believe or what they say, I think it's a good thing that this gets called out. Now, on the other hand of this, I have seen some comments that I feel need to be addressed. First of all, this is not the time for you to make sexualized comments towards this lady. She's a bad enough person with her political beliefs and the laws she wants to pass and her rhetoric that you don't need to sexualize this act. Despite it being a sex act, you don't need to make those kind of jokes. You don't need to, is anybody going to get mad at me? We can be better than that. We can point out the hypocrisy of what she did without sexualizing her as a person. So, hopefully, we can all kind of agree to that. I know that's going to be too hard for some people, but the problem with being me is my ethics don't end whether someone's nice to me or not. I try to treat people with a level of dignity whether or not they're a bad person or not. We should all try and do that. Hopefully you can do that too. But I don't think this type of story is anything new. This hypocrisy within conservative political spheres is, frankly, it's too common. We're going to hear more about this, whether it's her or someone else. This stuff is going to happen increasingly, and, well, I'll be here for it. And I guess until then, y'all try to have a good day.